follows next is a series of abdominal core exercises. I've chosen to show 5 different options, right from beginner level knee lift exercise up to the advanced double leg press, just to show progression. It's important to start with the basic knee lift exercise, and when a level of competence has been reached and the pelvis is secured in neutral, it's only then safe to attempt the next version up. You'll hear me talk about the engagement of not only the pelvic floor and the transversus, I've also included drawing the ribs down into the equation, although this is not necessary for the first couple of options. As the levels progress and get more advanced, it's important not to only include drawing the ribs down, but the full powerhouse, including the inner thighs and a little bit of engagement of the buttocks also. Earlier we talked about the recruitment of the core as around 30%. That's fine for the low-level beginner exercises, but again, as the exercises get more advanced, it's important to recruit a little more than 30% because the weight of the legs is greater and has more pull on the back and is more potential for the back to arch and come out of that neutral position. So you may find you need to recruit more than 30% as the exercises get more advanced. So now we're ready to perform the knee folds exercise. So we're going to use the combination of the pelvic floor, drawing down the transversus muscle and drawing down of the ribs, and in that order as well. And once all 3 sections are engaged, we're then ready to lift the leg. If you're practicing this on yourself, it's a good idea to slide one hand underneath your own natural lumbar curve. So if you can slide this hand under there, Paul, without moving the body, to place your hand under. So it's really the fingertips. It's important not to move your body as you do that. The other hand can be placed on top of the belly button, and this hand is checking that the abdominals don't bulge out as you lift the leg. So you need to keep the abdominals flat. So we need roughly a long exhalation for this when you're starting to practice, and I often say to my clients, breathe out for 6 seconds. The first 3 seconds of exhalation are to draw the pelvic floor openings in, then draw the belly button down on the next second of exhalation, and on the 3rd second of exhalation, draw the ribs down. That leaves you another 3 seconds of exhalation for which to do the leg movement itself. Okay? When you practice and you get a little bit more attuned, you can do this in possibly less than 3 seconds. If it takes you longer than 3 seconds to do that, then that's fine, but please ensure that you don't move the leg until you are fully engaged in the core muscles. So let's try that now. Take a deep breath in, blow out through the mouth for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When you're happy, you can last for about 6 seconds. Breathe in again. We'll add in the core muscles. Blow out for 6, pelvic floor 5, belly button down 4, ribs draw down 3. Keep exhaling and slowly float the right foot off the floor until the knee is bent roughly at 90 degrees above the hip. You can bring it in slightly further if you wish, but as long as you don't lose that natural lumbar curve. Breathe in again through the nose. Blow out for 6, pelvic floor 5, belly button 4, drawing the ribs down, and then slowly place this leg down. Keep pulling in, because as the leg gets further away from the body, it weighs more, so you need to pull in a little bit tighter against the increasing resistance of that leg. And if you manage to stabilize in this neutral position without tilting or arching the back, then you can try a slightly more advanced version. So we'll try lifting the second leg this time now. So take a deep breath in, blow out through the mouth, draw the belly button in, pelvic floor first, then the belly button, and then draw the ribs down, floating up that right foot off the floor, still exhaling, still drawing in. And then now we're going to lift the second leg, go through the same process, breathe in again, breathe out through the mouth, engage pelvic floor, draw down the belly button, draw down the rib cage, and slowly float up that second leg, pulling in tight. And Paul's quite strong, so he's managed to stabilize in that neutral position. Deep breath in again. Blow out through the mouth, pelvic floor first, belly button second, drawing the ribs down, placing that right leg slowly back down, keeping it bent and pulling tighter. Remember, it weighs more as it gets closer to the ground. Breathe in again. Blow out through the mouth, pelvic floor, draw down the belly button, draw down the ribs, and slowly put that last leg back down. And Paul's pelvis hasn't moved at all. So I'm actually going to demonstrate the next level up. So we're going to take one leg off the floor at a time and then place both legs down. And it's important to remember, as we said earlier, as the legs are going down, they weigh more. So if, as you're pushing both legs down, only if you feel stabilized enough to do so, if you feel the back is arching part way down, you quickly change to one foot at a time. So let's try this now. Deep breath in. Blow out through the mouth. Draw the belly button in first. Pelvic floor first. Belly button second. And draw the ribs down, float up the right leg. Repeat that whole process. Breathe in again. Breathe out through the mouth, pelvic floor first, belly button second and ribs down third, floating up the second leg. And if you're strong enough and you have no back problems, both legs down. Breath in, blow out, pelvic floor, belly button, draw those ribs down and pushing both legs down, pulling in tighter. The hardest part of this movement is about 1 inch away from the floor, so that's where you've got to have the most stomach strength. But like we said earlier, Paul's got a very strong stomach. And for your more advanced clients, you may want to then try this straight leg version. So if you can float up one leg at a time, Paul, and then we'll try scissors, one straight leg at a time. Pelvic floor, belly button. Draw the ribs down, float up the leg, float up the other leg. And then Paul's going to straighten the legs up. And it's also important to remember that if somebody's hamstrings are tight, they're not necessarily going to be able to straighten the legs and have the knee at 90 degrees above the hip. So if that's the case, then just soften the knees a little bit until the knees are in line directly above the hip. Okay, so only attempt this next version if you have a client that's particularly strong. So a straight leg or a long lever weighs a lot more than a bent leg. Okay, and remember, the leg is designed to act as a weight to pull the pelvis out of that neutral position, and we're using the core abdominals to maintain that neutral position of the pelvis. So breathing in, blow out through the mouth, engage the pelvic floor first. Draw down the belly button, draw down the ribs and push the right leg away from you, breathing out and again pulling in tighter as the leg gets further away. And trying to keep this position, pulling in, inhale as the leg comes back. And then we'll repeat with the other leg. Breathe in, breathe out through the mouth, pulling in the pelvic floor. Draw down the belly button, then the ribs, pushing the other leg away. Keeping tight hold of the belly button and the rest of the core. Inhale as the leg comes back. And then for your really strong clients, obviously you've got the ultimate. You can then push both legs away if they're very strong. Breathing in, blow out through the mouth, draw the pelvic floor, the belly button and the ribs, pushing both legs away. And it's important to remember that whichever version you do, whether it's 2 straight legs or 1 straight leg, only to allow them to go to where the neutral position of the pelvis can be maintained, and then slowly coming back without arching the back. Bend the knees, breathe in. As you exhale, engage the core, pelvic floor, belly button, drawing down the ribs, pushing the right leg down towards the floor. Breathe in, holding tight onto that navel. Exhaling, engaging the core and drawing down that last leg. Shoulders relaxed. And release. Well done, Paul. Your pelvis hasn't moved at all. Very good.